Kuhei was an unattractive, socially awkward loser who transferred to a new school hoping to lose his cheery. His luck changed when a beautiful vampire girl fell for his negative charm, and he turned her into his human pencil sharpener. However, before any of this, Kuhei arrived at Shuchikan Academy and was greeted by Erika, the vice president of the student council. When he reached out to shake her hand, Erika pulled away as if she'd been shocked. Looking uncomfortable, Kuhei asked what was wrong, but Erika brushed it off and stepped back as he tried to help her stand up. Soon after, another student named Tsukasa joined them, and Erika quickly asked Tsukasa to take Kuhei to the dorms, saying she had something urgent to do. On their way to the dorm, Tsukasa jokingly commented that Kuhei's appearance might have scared Erika off. Kuhei, however, was confident and claimed he was usually popular with girls, refusing to believe that she could be repulsed by him. At the dorms, Tsukasa explained that the girls stayed on the 3rd and 4th floors. While climbing the stairs, Kuhei was accidentally knocked down by a girl with a tomboyish look. Before he fully regained consciousness, the girl tried to wake him up, but her sister Haruna stopped her from using a more intense method to do so. Tsukasa called out to Kuhei, which woke him up, and that's when Kanade, the tomboyish girl, recognized Kuhei as a childhood friend who had moved away 7 years ago. Kuhei realized who they were, and Kanade quickly apologized for almost sending him to the afterlife with her rough attempt to wake him up. Later that night, Erika was talking with a blonde boy who asked what she thought of Kuhei. She admitted she didn't like him much. Meanwhile, Kuhei had to share Tsukasa's room because his own belongings hadn't arrived yet. As they chatted, they heard laughter coming from the room above. The next morning, Kanade and Haruna joined them for breakfast and apologized for the noise from their late-night tea party with friends. Kanade then suggested they have their next tea party in Kuhei's room, and she handed him a school map. She told him he needed to take photos of specific spots around campus before the entrance ceremony. After breakfast, Kuhei started exploring the campus to capture the required photos. While doing so, he noticed a girl with silver hair trying to catch a rabbit. He helped her, and she thanked him, introducing herself as Taugi Shiro. While they chatted, a nun approached and introduced herself as Sister Mika, the school counselor. After some small talk, Kuhei turned to leave, but Shiro asked where he was headed next. He mentioned that he needed to go to the building for directing students, so Shiro led him there. When he tried to take a picture of the building, they were interrupted by Shiro's older brother, Taugi Seikairu, who demanded to know Kuhei's relationship with his sister. Shiro explained that Kuhei was a new student and that she was only helping him find his way. After she left, a blonde boy opened the door of the building and invited Kuhei in for tea. Inside, Kuhei saw Erika again, who scolded her blonde-haired brother, Sendu Iori, for bringing Kuhei there, especially knowing how she felt about him. Iori brushed her off and apologized to Kuhei for Erika's behavior, introducing himself as her older brother. He explained that Erika had been avoiding Kuhei because she had fallen for him the moment they met. That night, as Kuhei prepared to take a bath, Lori's words echoed in his mind like a catchy song. However, when he entered the bathroom, he was startled to find Erika there. Stumbling over his words, he tried to explain that he hadn't meant to invade her space, but she slapped him hard, leaving him dazed. The slap was so loud that Iori, who was in the boys' bathroom, confessed to Seikairu that he had intentionally switched the boys' and girls' bath curtains as a prank.
Yeah, boy.
Afterward, Kuhei sat in the common area nursing his sore cheek. Tsukasa joined him, followed by Haruna and Kanade. Kanade jokingly called him a peeping Tom and stuck a discipline sticker on his forehead as punishment. Haruna asked why he had ended up in the girls' bath, and Tsukasa explained what he had overheard Iori saying to Seikairu. At that moment, Erika passed by and overheard their conversation. She realized Iori had set Kuhei up and stormed off in anger. However, she didn't stay long enough to hear Kuhei saying he wanted to apologize to her. Later, as Kuhei and Tsukasa walked to their rooms, Erika approached them and told Kuhei to meet her by the Zelkova tree that evening. After she left, Tsukasa mentioned that the tree was a popular spot for confessions. Kuhei decided to stop by the chapel to take a picture on his way there, but he was shocked to find Iori drinking the blood of a female student. Because of this disturbing sight, Kuhei ended up arriving late to the tree, where Erika had already left, assuming he had decided not to meet her at all. At the entrance ceremony the following day, Kuhei spotted Iori smiling on stage, which brought back memories of what he'd seen in the chapel. However, he convinced himself that Iori must have been playing another prank on him, similar to the bathroom curtain trick. Iori finished his speech, and Erika took over to address the crowd. Kuhei was caught off guard when Erika unexpectedly singled him out in front of everyone, calling him a dirty peeping sleaze. He tried to explain himself, but the entire hall buzzed with whispers, as his new classmates seemed more interested in gossiping about him than hearing him out. They quickly assumed Erika's accusations were true, leaving Kuhei embarrassed and frustrated. Afterward, as he joined his class, his classmates hounded him, jokingly asking him what it was like to see the girls unprotected. They bombarded him with questions, and just as his friend Tsukasa was about to tell them off for being rude, the door swung open, revealing a surprising sight: Kuhei's long-lost twin sister, Kiriha. She breezed into the room, paying no attention to the teacher's protests about her tardiness, as if she owned the place. Kiriha's presence took Kuhei by surprise, but she didn't even spare him a second glance as she made herself comfortable in her seat. After class, Kuhei decided to track down Erika to clear up the misunderstanding from the entrance ceremony. He went to her classroom but saw her surrounded by her friends. Not wanting to cause a scene, he changed course and headed to the student council office, hoping to find her there. When he arrived, though, he found the office locked. Frustrated, Kuhei wandered around until he bumped into Haruna. As they chatted, Haruna suddenly spotted Erika walking by. Kuhei quickly thanked her and bolted after Erika, hoping to catch her before she disappeared again. In his rush, Kuhei collided with Kiriha, who was carrying a pile of boxes. The impact sent both of them tumbling, and the contents of the boxes scattered across the floor. Kuhei apologized and immediately helped her pick up the handbooks that had fallen out. Once they'd gathered everything, he offered to help carry the boxes. Although Kiriha was her usual dismissive self, she accepted his help without much protest, and together they carried the boxes to her destination. That night, Kuhei finally finished setting up his room and was getting ready to unwind when he heard a noise. Suddenly, Kanade dropped down onto his balcony from the roof, landing like a ninja, except she used Kuhei as a cushion. Right behind her came Haruna, who carried a basket and apologized on behalf of her sister's rough entrance. Eventually, they all settled down for tea in Kuhei's room. Kanade reminded him about the photos she had asked him to take and asked if she could have them now. When Kuhei handed over his memory card, Kanade celebrated, shouting that she could finally create the pamphlets for new students. Only then did Kuhei realize he'd been tricked. Kanade had cleverly gotten him to do half of her work for her. Kanade, with a grin, thanked him and officially declared his room the tea party room from now on. The next day at school, Shiro went to feed her pet rabbit, only to discover it had escaped by digging a hole under the cage. After class, she found Kuhei and pleaded with him to help her search for it. Kuhei agreed, and the two set off on a mission to find the runaway rabbit. As Kuhei searched near the football field, he spotted Erika. Seeing this as a chance to apologize for the bathroom incident, he approached her. But just as he was about to speak, the rabbit darted out from a bush nearby, hopping right into the middle of the field. Kuhei acted quickly, rushing to rescue the rabbit before it could get hit by an oncoming soccer ball. After he saved the rabbit, Erika tried to help Kuhei up, offering her hand. But when Kuhei reached out, Erika quickly pulled back, her reaction making him feel confused and awkward. Just then, Iori appeared out of nowhere, pointing out that Kuhei had a cut on his hand. Iori took out a handkerchief and started to dab at the blood, but Kuhei instinctively pulled his hand away, unsettled by Lori's touch. Soon after, Shiro arrived, happy to see her rabbit safe and sound, and she gratefully thanked Kuhei for saving it. That evening back at the dorm, Erika approached Kuhei, and he finally had the chance to apologize for accidentally walking in on her in the bathroom and for missing their meeting under the Zelkova tree. Erika accepted his apology and also apologized for the scene she caused at the entrance ceremony, admitting she may have overreacted. She then asked if they could put everything behind them and start fresh as friends. Kuhei happily agreed, relieved that the tension between them seemed to be easing. Meanwhile, Seikaru was in Lori's room, showing him the results of a test he had conducted on Kuhei's blood sample. After reviewing the data, Iori concluded that Kuhei was unique, which might explain Erika's unusual reaction to him when they first met. A few days later, Kuhei hosted a tea party in his room, with Erika, Shiro, and their friends all gathered together after school. During the party, Kanade mentioned that Kuhei's room looked too plain and empty, more like a showroom than a cozy place. Shiro agreed, saying it could use some decorations to make it feel more personal. Kanade then suggested they all go shopping the next day to pick out things that would make the room feel lived in. The following day, the group met up as planned and headed into town. They visited a few shops, picking out various items to make Kuhei's room feel like home. After shopping, they decided to go down to the seaside to catch the sunset. While everyone was relaxing and enjoying the view, Kuhei and Erika found themselves standing together on the boardwalk, taking in the scenery. Kuhei told Erika he had a great time, and Erika replied that they could enjoy many more days like this if he was willing to continue making memories with her and their friends. The next day at school, Iori approached Kuhei and asked him to stop by the student council office after classes. Curious, Kuhei agreed. After school, he made his way to the office, where Iori invited him to play a board game, explaining that the rules of the game were absolute and had to be followed. At first, Kuhei thought it was just a harmless game, but then Iori drew a card that instructed him to stab his own hand with a knife. To Kuhei's shock, Iori picked up a letter opener and stabbed his hand without hesitation, then calmly told Kuhei that he had completed his turn. Kuhei was stunned and thought Iori was crazy for hurting himself over a game. But Iori reassured him, showing how the wound on his hand quickly healed on its own. That's when Iori explained that he was a vampire, and healing quickly was just one of his abilities. Kuhei's mind raced with fear as he pictured Iori attacking him. But Iori, noticing his alarm, promised that he wouldn't harm him and had no plans to drink his blood. At that moment, Erika walked into the room, confirming Lori's revelation. She, too, admitted that she was a vampire. Iori then turned serious and told Kuhei that now that he knew their secret, he couldn't simply let him go. He gave Kuhei two choices. He could either join the student council or have his memory erased. Iori added that if Kuhei chose to have his memory erased, he'd lose all memories of his time at the academy, including the friends he'd made. Kuhei took a moment to think about it. He wasn't too afraid of losing his memories since he had experienced fresh starts before. However, this time was different. He had grown close to Erika, Shiro, and the rest of the group. Despite this, he agreed to have his memory erased. Seeing his reaction, Iori turned to Erika, asking her to handle the task. He then left the room, leaving Kuhei and Erika alone. Erika took Kuhei to a quiet lakeside, where she asked him one more time if he truly wanted to lose all his memories of their time together. Kuhei told her he was ready, saying he didn't want to cause any trouble for her or Iori. However, Erika's emotions got the better of her, and she began to cry. She called him a coward for giving up so easily and questioned if the time they had spent together meant anything to him. Hearing Erika's words made Kuhei pause. He thought back to all the moments they had shared, realizing that he didn't want to forget them after all. Finally, Kuhei told Erika he had changed his mind. He didn't want his memories erased. Instead, he was willing to accept Lori's offer to join the student council and be part of their world. Later that day, Kuhei returned to the student council room to inform Iori of his decision. He told Iori he would join the student council, embracing the chance to stay close to his friends and create even more memories with them. On Kuhei's first day as a member of the student council, Iori gave him a quick, in-depth introduction to the reality of being a vampire, starting with an assurance that everything movies showed about vampires was pretty misleading. Iori explained that Shiro and Seikairu were already aware of Iori and Erika's true nature since their families had a long-standing history together. Moving on, Iori explained that vampires are physically powerful and immortal, revealing he was almost as old as legends like Vandal Savage. Hearing this, Kuhei glanced at Erika with curiosity, but she laughed, saying she was his age and definitely not an ancient vampire disguised as a teenager. Iori clarified that things like garlic and sunlight don't bother them like the legends say, but Erika added a small note of caution. They were still not completely certain if a wooden stake might do serious damage. Their conversation finally turned to the subject of drinking blood, and Kuhei wanted to know if it was really necessary. Erika answered, saying they still didn't fully understand why vampires had to drink blood but assured him they didn't hunt humans to satisfy this need. Iori, however, was more straightforward, admitting he sometimes drank directly from people, though he added it was rare and done carefully, especially since Kuhei had already seen him feed. After this unusual vampire lesson, Iori jokingly mentioned Kuhei's accidental encounter with Erika in the bathroom, which made Erika lash out playfully, clearly annoyed but not truly upset. Once Iori recovered from her retaliation, he moved on to official business, telling Kuhei he'd be responsible for organizing the upcoming sports festival. Iori took him to the committee meeting to introduce him to the other members, who seemed hesitant about Kuhei's new role. But once Kuhei addressed the group with a speech Iori encouraged, they began to warm up to him slightly. Over the next few days, Kuhei was overwhelmed with work related to the sports festival, and Iori warned Erika not to distract him while he was focused on the preparation. One evening, Haruna and Kanade found Kuhei passed out on his bed, surrounded by stacks of paper. They helped him organize his room, and, after sharing some tea, he explained how he had recently joined the student council and taken on the festival's planning. His friends were surprised but supportive, encouraging him to keep at it. The following day, Erika stopped by the student council room to find that the paperwork on Kuhei's desk had only grown. Kuhei told her he had to go through it all to understand the festival's usual setup at the academy. Just then, Iori, seated at his own desk, asked Kuhei to sort through old reference materials stored in the archives. Kuhei headed to the storage room, and Erika, eager to help, followed him, though Seikairu held Shiro back to finish her other chores. As they worked, Erika almost tripped, but Kuhei quickly caught her, preventing a potentially painful fall. They continued sorting through boxes, and Kuhei stumbled upon an old picture that seemed to show Iori. When he tried to show Erika, he noticed she was gazing at a different picture, smiling softly as she commented on how happy everyone looked. Days went by as Kuhei continued handling festival plans, ensuring each member of the committee did their part. During lunch one afternoon, Haruna and Kanade asked him about the festival's progress. Kuhei provided a quick update and asked for any ideas they might have to make the event more exciting. Kanade playfully suggested something outrageous, which Kuhei dismissed with a laugh, turning to Haruna for her input. Instead of a response, she poured him a glass of juice. After he took a sip, he praised the taste, prompting Kanade to proudly embrace her sister, telling Kuhei he should be grateful for Haruna's reward. Inspired, Kuhei came up with a new idea for the festival. That evening, he proposed his idea to the festival committee, suggesting they invite local vendors to sponsor the event and provide prizes. He believed this would make the festival more engaging and create a stronger community feel. Unknown to him, Shiro had overheard his pitch, while the other committee members found his proposal unusual. After the meeting, despite the committee's skepticism, Kuhei decided to visit local vendors in person. As he left the school, he ran into Shiro, who insisted on accompanying him. Together, they spoke to various vendors, and Kuhei was surprised at how eager the townspeople were to participate. He also learned how deeply respected Shiro's family was in the town due to their influential role. Shiro revealed that she rarely left the island because she spent most of her time preparing to live up to her family's legacy. Kuhei, touched by her dedication, promised to take her on a tour off the island someday. On the day before the festival, Kuhei was putting the finishing touches on the ceremonial gate for the opening event. Erika arrived, intending to offer help, but before she could, the other committee members joined him, so she decided to observe from a distance. Soon, Shiro came over and stood beside her, watching as Kuhei and the other students lifted the gate into place. A few more friends, including Haruna, Kanade, and Tsukasa, arrived to lend a hand, and together they managed to raise the gate. However, just as they were about to secure it, the gate fell and broke in half, creating an unexpected mess and giving them more work on the eve of the big event. On the morning of the festival, Kuhei was chosen to recite the opening oath before everyone, but nerves got the better of him. He stammered awkwardly, his mind blank despite his best efforts to recall the words. After a moment of flustered silence, he finally managed to get through it, and the festival officially began. The students were excited, rushing to join the different events with tons of energy. Even Kiria, known for her cool and distant demeanor, took part in the 100-meter dash. After the race, Kuhei tried to congratulate her on finishing second, but she brushed him off, acting like her placement didn't matter. Next up was an event where Kanade eagerly requested Kuhei's help as a commentator since Haruna was participating and Kanade didn't want her own enthusiasm for her sister to make her commentary too biased. At first, Kuhei hesitated, but when Kanade started singing Haruna's praises over the microphone, Kuhei snatched it from her and began commenting on the match himself. For a while, he did well, but things went sideways when he began making unflattering comparisons between Erika and Haruna. Both of them weren't pleased, and the moment the race ended, Erika charged at Kuhei with a burst of speed, giving him a powerful punch that knocked him out cold. The events carried on for the rest of the morning, and soon it was time for a break. Kuhei and his friends gathered on a picnic blanket to enjoy their lunch together, chatting about the activity, particularly a balloon tossing event they were all excited to try. Kuhei explained that Kanade and Haruna had come up with the idea for it. Erika teased him, saying it was unfortunate he couldn't join in on the fun since he was helping organize. Kuhei just shrugged, saying he was happy as long as everyone else was having a good time. As they spoke, Kiria passed by and overheard him, telling him to stop acting like some kind of self-sacrificing hero. Erika snapped back, asking Kiria to be less rude, but Kuhei asked her to let it go. After a moment, Kiria walked off, and Kuhei later found her sitting alone, chatting quietly with a stray cat on the school grounds. Kuhei approached her, asking if she'd be coming back to join the festivities. Kiria responded that her events were finished, so she didn't see a reason to return. Kuhei, not wanting her to feel left out, joked that she should lighten up a bit instead of acting like a Wednesday Addams wannabe. Before he could say more, he was called to the organizer's tent for a quick meeting. At the tent, the committee members informed Kuhei that there had been a mistake in the prize count, and they didn't have enough awards for the remaining events. Those in charge of the mix-up apologized, asking Kuhei if he had any ideas to solve the issue. After some thought, he proposed they use vouchers as temporary prizes, allowing winners to claim their awards later. He offered to speak to the event sponsors personally to see if they could arrange for additional prizes. 2 committee members volunteered to join him, and together they approached the local vendors, who happily agreed to provide extra prizes, excited to support the festival. Meanwhile, the balloon toss event had already started, and students were joyfully pelting each other with water balloons. Iori, as usual, took the chance to show off, charming everyone around him. Seikairu, meanwhile, stayed close to Shiro, trying to protect her despite being on opposing teams. At one point, Kanade took a hit to the chest, making her shirt turn transparent. Embarrassed by the unwanted attention, she quickly handed out discipline stickers to the shameless onlookers to stop their staring. Just as the game was winding down, Haruna ran off to grab more balloons but tripped on her way back, injuring her leg. With her leg hurt, she had to pull out of the next event, the final race, a 3-legged obstacle course she was supposed to run with Kuhei. Kuhei's other classmates refused to join in her place, but Kuhei spotted Kiriya nearby and went to her, asking if she'd team up with him. Kiriya hesitated, clearly not thrilled by the idea, but after Haruna pleaded with her, she agreed, though she made it clear that Kuhei couldn't blame her if they lost. Before the race began, Haruna offered to braid Kiriya's hair into pigtails, admitting she'd always wanted to be friends. Kiriya, staying true to her aloof nature, didn't respond. Soon, the race was underway, with their classmates cheering them on. Kuhei, eager to win, encouraged Kiriya to give it her all. At the final obstacle, they had to enter makeshift dressing rooms to change into costumes. Kuhei quickly untied the rope that bound him to Kiriya so she could slip into her costume. When she emerged in a cute cat ear-made outfit, the crowd was charmed by her unexpected cuteness, and even Kuhei couldn't help but smile. Erika soon came out in her costume, a giant, clumsy duck suit that made it nearly impossible for her to move properly. The oversized feet caused her to stumble, and she eventually tripped and fell, much to the amusement of everyone around. Kiriya, noticing this, quickly grabbed Erika's hand and helped her up. Together, they sprinted toward the finish line, securing first place for their class. The crowd erupted in applause as they crossed the line, marking the race as one of the day's highlights. With the festival wrapping up, Kuhei was proud of all he had accomplished. As a final gesture, Iori approached him and handed him a key to the student council room, saying it was his reward for all the hard work he had put into making the festival a success. The gesture surprised Kuhei, who accepted the key with a sense of pride. The festival had been a challenge, but it was also a memorable day that brought everyone closer together. Afterward, Kuhei and his friends gathered to talk about the day's events, sharing stories and laughter over the moments they'd remember for a long time. Through it all, Kuhei felt a deeper bond with everyone and a growing sense of belonging at the academy. His life had taken a unique turn, and while he never expected to end up in a place with vampires, mysterious secrets, and unexpected friendships, he was grateful for it all. A few days later, Kuhei ran into Haruna, who was busy putting up flyers to recruit volunteers for the upcoming Community Service Month. She asked him if the student council would be supporting the event as promised, but Kuhei admitted that Iori hadn't told him anything about it. Still, he promised to help and offered to put up the remaining flyers with her around the school. While they were working together, they didn't realize Kanade was watching them from behind some lockers. Seeing Kuhei and Haruna together, Kanade wondered if Haruna might have feelings for him. That night, Kuhei noticed someone lurking outside his balcony. As he moved closer, he realized it was Kanade spying on him. She tried to hide quickly, hoping he hadn't noticed her, but Kuhei opened the door and called her out, asking why she was watching him. He even called Haruna down to confront Kanade, explaining she'd been spying on him from the balcony. Kanade nervously denied it, saying she'd just been curious about what he did in his free time, though her explanation sounded suspicious to both Haruna and Kuhei. Realizing she was acting like a bit of a stalker, Kanade quickly excused herself, mumbling something about watering her pet plant, and dashed off to her room. After she left, Haruna apologized on Kanade's behalf and asked Kuhei not to hold it against her before heading back herself. A few days later, Kuhei and Haruna were looking out the classroom window when they saw Seikaru handing out flyers. Beside him, Iori announced a new student council event to showcase the fresh uniforms designed for the cleaning committee. Once again, Kuhei hadn't heard anything about this event beforehand. Haruna, however, was aware and mentioned that she needed to go help since she was on the committee. Curious, Kuhei followed her, and when they arrived at the event, he found several girls, including Erika and Shuru, dressed in maid outfits. Of course, Iori had chosen these outfits, looking quite pleased with his creative idea. Seeing Lori's smug grin, Kuhei quickly realized that Iori hadn't told him about the event because he'd known Kuhei would object to the maid costumes. Just then, Haruna arrived in her maid outfit, apologizing for being late. Before she could join the others, Kanade suddenly appeared, pulling Kuhei to the front of the crowd. She handed Seikaru a camera, asking him to take a photo of her, Kuhei, and Haruna together. Embarrassed, both Kuhei and Haruna tried to protest, but Kanade didn't understand why Haruna wouldn't want to take a picture with Kuhei, claiming she was only doing it to help her. This made Haruna angry, and she finally snapped, asking Kanade why she always treated her as if she were fragile just because she'd lost some of her memories in an accident. Haruna told her sister that she didn't want to be treated like delicate glass anymore. With that, she stormed off, leaving everyone around them shocked. Later, Kuhei found Kanade in the cafeteria, looking upset. She apologized for the incident at the uniform event, feeling bad about how things had turned out. As they spoke, Haruna walked into the cafeteria but quickly left upon noticing her sister sitting there. Seeing this, Kanade began to blame herself for Haruna's accident. She explained to Kuhei that Haruna had been born sick and spent most of her early years in the hospital. When she finally recovered, their mother had tasked Kanade with watching over her. Unfortunately, on the day of the accident, Kanade hadn't been there with her, and afterward, she discovered that Haruna had lost some memories, particularly those of a close friend named Ku. Because of the memory loss, Haruna had stopped writing letters to Ku. That weekend, Kuhei went shopping with Haruna, and while they were having coffee, he shared everything Kanade had told him. Haruna admitted that she was upset with Kanade because her sister always neglected herself and carried around unnecessary guilt. She confessed that, above all, she wanted Kanade to be happy and free of that burden. Kuhei encouraged Haruna to share her feelings directly with Kanade, reassuring her that open communication could help them both heal. Later that night, Kuhei brought Kanade to the old Zelkova tree on campus, where Haruna was waiting. Haruna opened up to Kanade, admitting that, when they were younger, she'd often felt jealous because Kanade got to live a normal life, playing and going to school, while she spent her childhood confined to hospitals. She made it clear that she didn't blame Kanade for the accident and even pleaded with her to prioritize her own happiness rather than always putting her needs aside for others. Kanade, surprised and touched, explained that she had always cared for Haruna out of love and guilt for the time they'd lost when Haruna was sick. Haruna assured her that the only way she could truly be happy was if Kanade was happy, too. Both sisters hugged tightly, feeling a renewed bond. After their emotional reconciliation, Kuhei handed Kanade a letter that Haruna had written to him. It was an old letter, one that Haruna had sent shortly after her memory loss. In the letter, Haruna asked Kuhei if he was okay with her continuing to write to him. Even though she didn't remember much of their past together, she admitted that she'd been desperate to regain her lost memories and was hoping that reaching out to familiar faces would help. After reading the letter, Kuhei suggested they all try to move forward, letting go of past regrets and focusing on the future now that they were reunited. Together, they made a pact under the Zelkova tree, each wishing to create more joyful memories with one another. From that day on, Kuhei, Kanade, and Haruna grew even closer. They spent more time together, and although challenges came and went. The following weekend, Iori had Kuhei and the others working tirelessly to prepare for the upcoming pool event, while he lounged around reading a magazine, showing no intention of helping. At one point, Iori casually asked Kuhei about his birthday because he was interested in seeing if his compatibility with Erika could be predicted through astrology. Kuhei shrugged it off, saying it wasn't important, but Iori ignored him and began flipping through his notes to find Erika's birthday, which he eventually mentioned was on June 7th. Upon hearing this, Kanade looked at the calendar and immediately realized that it was actually Erika's birthday that very day. She scolded Iori for not remembering his sister's special day, but he brushed it off, saying their family never really celebrated birthdays, and even Erika didn't care much. But Kuhei believed that everyone should feel special on their birthday, so he decided to do something about it. Being crafty, Iori slyly suggested that Kuhei head into town to buy a new toilet brush, a chore he clearly wanted to avoid himself. However, Kuhei saw right through him and figured he might use the errand as a chance to pick up a thoughtful gift for Erika. Later that day, while the cleaning committee and student council members gathered at the pool for cleanup, Kanade noticed Iori and Shiro idling, so she sternly told them to help out. Iori promptly began working, but Seikaru just stood there until Shiro convinced him to start helping too. Meanwhile, Kuhei and Erika were in the student council room when there was a knock at the door. The person outside introduced himself as a sushi delivery worker and said he had a package for Kuhei. When Kuhei stepped outside, Tsukasa handed him a gift box, teasing that it was compensation for using him as a delivery boy. Thanking him, Kuhei brought the box back inside and handed it to Erika. When she opened it, she found a lovely basket of flowers inside, which left her genuinely surprised. Kuhei explained that the flowers were a birthday gift for her, and Erika admitted that he was the first person who had ever given her a present on her birthday. The gesture touched her deeply, making her feel like a regular teenager for once. She thanked him as she wiped away a few tears, visibly moved by his thoughtfulness. Later that night, she placed the basket of flowers on her bedside table, gazing at them with a happy smile. However, her joy didn't last long, as she soon felt a sudden, intense pain in her chest. Trying to calm herself, she lay back in bed, hoping the pain would pass. When the day of the pool event finally arrived, the girls changed into their swimwear, but Shiro felt a bit insecure next to Haruna and Erika, who were more developed physically. Kanade tried to cheer her up by assuring her that she would grow up to be just as attractive, though Shiro glanced at Kanade's modest figure and hoped her fate would be different. At the event, Iori climbed up onto one of the diving platforms, asking everyone to admire his magnificent physique as he dramatically opened his shirt. Unfortunately, his efforts didn't have the sparkling effect he'd hoped for, but he basked in the attention for a good few minutes anyway. Soon after, the games began, and the girls did their best to hold onto their swim caps, which were the target in the game. but the boys with judo skills were too fast and managed to take down many of them. In the end, only Kiriha and Shiro managed to keep their caps. Kiriha skillfully evaded her opponents with her impressive swimming skills, while Shiro was simply too adorable for anyone to want to knock out of the game. After a long, eventful day, Kuhei and Erika were the last to leave, staying behind to clean up around the pool. As they were tidying up, Kuhei suggested that they swim a lap around the pool together, and Erika agreed. After they finished their swim, Erika helped Kuhei out of the pool, but he lost his balance on the slippery surface, causing her to pull him close to keep him from falling. The moment created an unexpected romantic tension between them, and for a brief second, it seemed like they might kiss. However, just then, Erika felt the sharp pain in her chest return. She quickly pulled away, and without explanation, she rushed back to her room. Once back in her room, Erika collapsed onto her bed, trying to breathe through the pain. Her chest felt unbearably tight, and her eyes began to glow a faint red, signaling a deeper need within her that she was trying hard to resist. Though her body was screaming for blood, Erika remained determined not to give in, fighting her instincts as she lay there in agony, hoping the feeling would pass soon. Late that night, Erika woke from a strange dream in which she saw a shadowy version of herself feeding on Kuhei. The disturbing image left her feeling uneasy and confused. Meanwhile, at the same hour, a female student was leaving the chapel when she spotted a cloaked figure watching her from the roof. Frightened, she screamed, and a sister hurried to her side, asking what was wrong. The girl, too scared to speak, pointed shakily at the figure, which now stood on the highest part of the roof. By the following day, word about the mysterious figure spread across the school, with students speculating that the person might actually be a vampire. During a student council meeting, Kuhei brought up the rumors and directly asked Iori if he had been the cloaked figure. Iori denied it, but when Kuhei hinted that Erika might be the one, she firmly denied it as well. Iori then suggested that they patrol the school grounds that night to catch the culprit themselves. That evening, when they returned to the dorms, they found Haruna dressed in a makeshift vampire hunter costume, complete with a cross and a garlic necklace. She proudly declared that she was ready to defend the entire student body from the vampire. Haruna begged Kuhei and Erika to convince her sister, Kanade, to abandon her reckless plan to patrol the grounds that night. Kanade refused, though determined to carry on her mission. In an attempt to help, Iori placed the garlic necklace around Kanade's neck, telling her it was the best way to ward off vampires. However, the overpowering smell of garlic made her feel lightheaded, so she decided to save it for emergencies only. Just then, Sister Amik appeared, instructing everyone to stay indoors until the cloaked person was found. But Kuhei, Erika, Iori, and Seikairu chose to ignore her orders, sneaking out to patrol the grounds as they had planned. After splitting up and searching the school, they regrouped to call it a night. But suddenly, they felt a strange presence nearby. Looking up, they saw a cloaked figure land on the roof of a building. Without hesitation, Erika jumped onto the roof and demanded to know who the person was. The figure remained silent, their face hidden until a gust of wind blew their hood back. To everyone's shock, the cloaked person was Kiriha. Erika was even more surprised when Kiriha stated that she had no business with Erika because Erika was not her master. Realizing she might get caught, Kiriha turned to escape. Erika gave chase, and the others followed to keep the situation under control. Meanwhile, Haruna, hearing noises outside, glanced out of the window. She saw two figures moving with incredible speed and, curious to confirm what she was seeing, went outside to investigate. Close by, Erika pushed herself to keep up with Kiriha but quickly realized she was outmatched, and Kiriha managed to escape. Just as Haruna decided to head back inside, Erika landed back on the ground, coming face to face with her. Startled, Haruna suddenly recalled the day of her accident and remembered seeing Erika there. The shock of seeing Erika's glowing eyes was too much for her, and she fainted just as Kuhei, Shiro, and Iori arrived. They carried Haruna to the student council room, and Iori told Erika she should erase Haruna's memories, just as she had done in the past. When Erika re-entered the room, Kuhei tried to convince her not to do it, arguing that there had to be another way to protect her secrets. But Erika was adamant, saying it was the only way to keep her identity safe. She then admitted that this wouldn't be the first time she had erased Haruna's memories. Years ago, she had done the same after saving Haruna from a life-threatening accident. Although Kuhei tried to reason with her, Erika's frustration grew, and she confessed her fear of what might happen if her secrets were revealed. Her admission left Kuhei silent, and Erika knelt beside Haruna, preparing to erase her memories. However, just as she was about to begin, Haruna woke up. She expressed gratitude to Erika for saving her life as a child. But her thanks did not deter Erika from following through with her decision. When Erika finished erasing Haruna's memories, Kuhei fell to his knees, devastated. But to his surprise, Haruna looked up and called him by the nickname she had used for him when they were younger. She then revealed that she remembered everything, including the accident and Erika's actions, and expressed her gratitude once more, embracing Erika in a heartfelt hug. The next day, Kuhei and Erika were on their way to school when they bumped into Haruna and Kanade, who asked them to follow them to a quiet spot. Once they were there, Kanade surprised Erika by giving her a hug and sincerely thanking her for saving Haruna's life. She assured Erika that it didn't matter if she was a descendant of Count Dracula, because, to her, Erika was a friend. While they were sharing this emotional moment, Kiriya happened to walk by, ignoring Kanade's greeting completely. Once inside the school, Kiriya continued to act coldly, brushing past Iori and Shiro, who also tried to speak with her. After she left, Shiro turned to Iori and asked if he was certain about Kiriya being a dependent acting on her own. Iori confirmed his suspicions and hinted that Kiriya's master was someone they all knew well. Later in the student council office, Iori announced that he and Erika would be responsible for organizing the upcoming cultural festival. That evening, they told their friends about their new task at their usual tea party, and everyone offered to pitch in and help. A few days later, Seikaru came across Kiriya reading beneath a tree and informed her that someone wanted to meet her. Meanwhile, Erika and Kuhei went to town to shop for supplies and spread the word about the upcoming festival. After finishing their errands, they decided to relax by the beach. While they were there, Kuhei asked Erika what exactly a dependent was, recalling how she had mentioned it during the chase with Kanade. Erika explained that a dependent is a human who has made a contract with a vampire by drinking their blood. In return, they gain abilities similar to vampires, such as not aging and having enhanced strength. However, dependents differ from vampires because they can be forced into long periods of sleep against their will, and they are unable to disobey their master's orders. Erika then revealed that she believed Kiriya's master was most likely her and Lori's mother, Kaya. Kuhei was taken aback by this revelation. At the same time, Seikaru led Kiriya to meet with Kaya. When Kiriya finally came face to face with her master, she reacted by slapping her. Seikaru tried to intervene, but Kaya calmly stopped him and commanded Kiriya to kneel. Kaya began to complain about how Erika had refused to take on a dependent, something she felt was necessary. Back at the beach, Erika explained to Kuhei that her mother only allowed her to attend school under the condition that she would take on a dependent by the time she graduated. If she failed to do so, Kaya planned to bring her back home and essentially keep her locked away, as if she were a princess in a tower. Erika added that her mother's traditional views did not align with her own. She wanted to live freely and prove that vampires didn't need dependents to survive in the modern world. Hearing this, Kuhei offered to become her dependent if she needed someone to meet her mother's demands. But Erika immediately refused, saying she did not want to take away his humanity. She emphasized that her true wish was to live as humanly as possible, without relying on anyone as a dependent. When they returned to school, Kuhei walked Erika back to the dorms and left her at the entrance. As she watched him leave, Erika's chest suddenly began to ache intensely. She rushed up to her room, where she drank several bags of blood, trying to ease the growing hunger. However, no matter how much she drank, she still felt unsatisfied. Deep down, she realized that what she truly craved was Kuhei's blood. A few days later, a long line formed outside the student council room as most of the students waited for their chance to present their ideas for the cultural festival to Erika. After they finished discussing the proposals, Erika and Kuhei walked back to the dorm together, chatting about their plans for the event. When they arrived at the dorm, Erika said goodbye to Kuhei. As she turned to go inside, she noticed Kiriya's cat waiting for her on the stairs. Realizing the cat's presence was significant, she decided to go home to talk to her mother. When Erika got home, her mother immediately asked why Erika hadn't made Kuhei her dependent yet. She reminded Erika of the promise she had made before leaving for school, urging her to make things official. Surprisingly, Erika told her mother that she was still stuck in the past and explained that vampires could survive on other things besides human blood. Kaya pointed out that Erika had not been able to satisfy her thirst for blood with just blood bags, but Erika confidently assured her mother that she would overcome this challenge. She vowed that she would never live her life according to her mother's wishes. The next day, Iori and Kanade excitedly announced to their friends that they had planned a beach day for everyone. Kanade revealed her plans, showcasing some very poorly drawn pictures of their activities. Her friends tried not to laugh at her kindergarten-level artwork, but Kanade didn't seem to mind at all. She cheerfully explained her ideas, including a final event where they would all watch fireworks together. Despite the poor drawings, everyone liked the idea of spending the day at the beach. However, Shiro said she couldn't join them. When asked why, Seikaru explained that they had dance practice for the routine they would perform at the autumn festival at the shrine. This prompted Haruna to suggest that they join the siblings at the shrine so they could all enjoy the fireworks together. Shiro agreed, provided they finished their practice before the display started. The next day, the group met up at the beach and had a great time splashing in the ocean and playing various games, including a volleyball match. After all the fun, they settled down to eat by a fire. While everyone chatted around the fire, Kiriya decided to join Erika, who was sitting alone near the sea. After some conversation about how much fun they had that day, Kuhei suggested they rejoin the others. He reached out his hand for Erika to take, but the moment she tried to grasp it, she felt a tightness in her chest. Feeling overwhelmed, she pulled away quickly, not wanting Kuhei to know something was wrong. Iori, who had been watching from a distance, jumped down from a rock and explained Erika's situation to Kuhei. He told him that Erika's refusal to feed on humans was making her vampire urges stronger, and the more she resisted, the more pain she felt. Kanade attempted to argue that Erika could survive on the blood bags she had, but Iori insisted that Erika had reached a point where they no longer satisfied her thirst. Before walking away, he asked Kuhei to keep an eye on Erika in case of an emergency. On their way to the shrine, Kuhei asked Erika if she was in pain, but she replied with a bold-faced lie, insisting she was fine. Once they arrived at the shrine, the girls changed into their beautiful yukatas, and everyone gathered near a cliff to watch the fireworks display. As the show was about to start, Kuhei noticed something was off with Erika. When he asked her if everything was okay, she again insisted she was fine. Just before the fireworks began, Iori playfully pushed everyone forward, wanting them to get a better view. Kuhei instinctively hugged Erika to prevent her from falling, but this action only heightened her bloodlust. Realizing this, he quickly let go and apologized. However, he soon became distracted by the others' complaints about Lori's push. When Kuhei finally looked around for Erika again, he noticed she had slipped away. Worried, he went in search of her and eventually found her lying on the ground in pain. Rushing to her side, he tried to help, but Erika was determined to distance herself from him. She almost managed to get away, but in a moment of desperation, Kuhei pulled her into a hug. In that embrace, Kuhei hoped to offer her comfort, but he could feel the struggle within her. Erika didn't want to burden him with her struggles, and at the same time, she felt an intense need for his blood that was overwhelming. As they stood there, the sounds of fireworks echoed in the background, and the bright lights painted the night sky. But for Erika, the celebration felt far away compared to the battle she faced inside herself. The next morning, Erika woke up in her bed. As she recalled what had happened the night before, she realized that she had somehow overcome her bloodlust and made it home. Feeling relieved, she went about her day happily, carefree, until she got close to Kuhei. Suddenly, her chest tightened painfully, and she fell to the floor. As she struggled to understand what was happening, memories of the previous night flooded her mind. She remembered that after Kanade had hugged her, she had bitten Kuhei and fed on his blood. The shock of that experience left her reeling. When Kuhei approached her, she asked him not to come any closer, assuring him normal, she felt anything but worry about. Later, when Erika returned to her dorm, luckily for her to avoid him. One stormy night, as she lay in bed grappling with her urges and feeling miserable, Kiriha came to visit. Kanade had sent her with a message. Kiriha explained that Kanade wanted Erika to come because she didn't want that kind of control over someone's life. In frustration, she threw her pillow at Kiriha, insisting she would never become like her heartless mother. Kiriha left, and that she should feel good about. This prompted Shiro to volunteer, and Kuhei could return to the way they used to be. Kuhei immediately disagreed with Shiro's offer, but she was determined and refused to back down. At that moment, Kuhei realized that Iori had manipulated the entire situation to force Erika into making a difficult choice. He grabbed at her thoughts. The next morning, Kuhei found the mini air balloon Erika had left at his door. Excited, he hurried to the student council room to find gone home because she didn't want to make anyone her dependent. This news hit him hard, and he felt a deep sense of worry for her. After that shocking revelation, to think about it throughout the day. Kuhei went about his school duties, but each time someone asked about Erika, he made up an excuse for her absence. During lunch, he accidentally mistook Haruna for Erika. When he realized his mistake, he quickly apologized. Kanade scolded him for it, but Haruna said he was just made Kanade insist that they should hold a tea party that night and told Ku to invite Erika. That evening, Haruna, Kanade, and Tsukasa waited in Kuhei's room for him to arrive with Erika. However, he returned alone and informed them that Erika couldn't attend the party because she was busy. When the group to do just that and rushed out of the room. Shiro, who was fetching carrots for the rabbit, saw him running and wondered where he was headed. When Kuhei arrived at the gate, he spotted Iori and Shiro, who offered to take him to Erika since he had no idea where to go. Meanwhile, Kiriha opened the door to Erika's room and told her that her mother wanted to speak with her. Soon after, Kuhei, Iori, and Shiro arrived at the house, where they were taken to see Kanade, who was expecting them. Kanade asked Kuhei if he was willing to become Erika's dependent, but he replied no, stating he was there to bring Erika back. This response angered Kanade, and she used her powers to send him flying across the room. As Kuei tumbled to the floor, Kanade grabbed him by the neck and said he needed to be punished for his disrespect. She called him an insolent brat who didn't understand how the world worked. But Kuei stood firm and argued that Erika wanted a different life than the one her mother intended for her. Just then, Erika appeared in the doorway, pleading with her mother to stop hurting Kuei. Kanade threw Kuei toward her and demanded that Erika make him her dependent. She threatened to silence Kuei for good if she didn't comply. Despite the pressure, Erika stood her ground and refused. Kuei then told Erika he had come to take her back, but she replied that she wouldn't return because it would put his life in danger. This made him wonder if her situation had changed since she went home, but Erika remained silent. Her lack of response told him everything he needed to know. He then told her that if she returned with him, he was willing to give her his blood to help ease her suffering. Kanade interjected, stating that the moment Erika took another sip of Kuei's blood, she would have no choice but to make him her dependent. Kuei countered that it wasn't her decision to make. He extended his hand to Erika and told her that their friends were waiting for them. He reassured her that as long as they were together, she would never feel alone or suffer again. Much to Kanade's annoyance, Erika took Kuei's hand, and together they returned to school. When they arrived, their friends welcomed them with open arms. Seeing them reunited brought joy to everyone, and Kuei felt relieved that Erika was back. Kanade had no choice but to instruct Kiriha to return to school and keep an eye on Erika's every move. A few days later, the cultural festival began, and everyone enjoyed themselves. The event went smoothly, with laughter and excitement filling the air. As they participated in the festival, Kuei and Erika felt grateful to be surrounded by their friends. They laughed, played games, and enjoyed each other's company, feeling a strong bond between them. The atmosphere was lively, and the day was filled with wonderful memories that would last a lifetime. Despite the earlier struggles, the sense of community among their friends brought them comfort and strength. Kuei realized that as long as they supported each other, they could face any challenge together. Erika, too, felt a sense of relief. Being back at school with her friends made her feel less isolated. As the sun began to set, the sky lit up with colorful fireworks, and everyone gathered to watch the display. Kuei and Erika stood side by side, watching the beautiful lights burst in the sky. In that moment, they both knew that they had overcome a significant hurdle together and that their friendship would continue to grow stronger. Thanks for watching till this long, my fellow men of culture. Don't forget to tell us about your favorite waifu from this anime and subscribe to the channel for more content.